UTAR is your favorite course. Let yourself step in this human force. With your creative mind and imagination, could you find your passion and learn?
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bull to Chat. Today is episode 6, which is our very last episode. So it's something new. We're going online because, as you know, the COVID cases are rising. Hence, we have to make use of what we have and we have to go for online. Anyways, so for today's guest, we have a very special guest today, which is Miss Audrey. Welcome, Miss Audrey. Thank you so much for being one of our special guests for our last episode today. So, how are you, Miss?
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for the warm welcome. Yes, I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm also one of the COVID survivor, so yeah, I'm better now. I hope
You look good, Alicia.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so without further ado, I think we can start with the interview session. Okay. So this is something very similar to what we're facing now. I want to ask you a question. Which teaching method would you prefer, online or physical classes?
Yeah, I think you guys definitely start the the interview questions with very difficult questions, I must say. Okay, all right. Back to the questions. Back to the questions. If you ask me what kind of teaching methods, okay, what kind of teaching methods that I prefer, whether I prefer to have to go for the fully online teaching method, for example, I think, of course, my answer whether I prefer or not will definitely, I need to look at whether the platform itself is very it's easy, easy to use, or does the platform itself complement or support in my teaching delivery or not. Okay, so to answer that questions, I need to consider few factors. Okay, few factors. First of all, the readiness of the students. Okay, the readiness of the students, as well as myself as an instructor, as a lecturer. Back in 2019 when the pandemic started, so I think all of us, we all just get stunned. We all have no idea what are we going to do. How are we going to continue with the lesson plan and things like that. And then I think as the time goes by, all of us are getting used. I must say, getting used, and then we all improve. We all at this particular time, I think all of us are ready to just embrace this new, teaching format. So that's the key. So I think if you ask me whether we're all ready, I think we all are very ready to embrace that, a new format of teaching, which is the online teaching delivery. And then again, back to the questions. The second things that I need to also look into is the nature of the course itself. So I think we all agree that not all courses actually can be fully integrated, or can use this online teaching as a platform for their teaching delivery. So I think this is the thing, as a lecturer, that all of us need to very that we need to all pay attention to. Okay, pay attention to. We all need to consider how are we going to deliver all those lesson plan, and then how this particular courses, for example, will be taken by our students. So will be taken by our students in the sense of how are they going to learn, even though we are going to switch. We have been switched to the online platform. So how are we going to make use of this platform to learn? Okay, so there's so many things that all of us as a lecturer that need to consider when we prepare all the assessments. If you ask me whether it's easy or not, I definitely can assure you it's not easy. It took a very long time to do the preparations, even the very beginning of the trimester itself. Okay, it took so many it consumed so many time for us to do what do you call that, for us to do the preparations. Okay, but I think with the technology, okay, with the technology, it does complement and it does support the delivery of the teaching itself. And then I think all of us, okay, regardless of whether you are a student or even the lecturer itself, we all are already in that particular bubble. We all get used to the technology. So it's just that a different purpose. We use it for a different purpose nowadays. Okay, so in that sense, I think um, uh, if you
Yeah.
ask me, yes, it's not easy. The integrations of the technology to the to the teaching and learning process. Okay, but I think like I said, all of us are improved in that sense.
Yeah.
Okay, all of us has improved. So, Alicia, back to your questions. If you ask me, do I prefer OTL? I think given the current conditions, I think we all have to appreciate the fact that we still have an alternative to observe. You
Yeah.
mean we can just switch to OTL, okay, on OTL. But again, if you ask me, do you miss the face-to-face class? My answer is also yes. Okay,
Yeah.
my answer is also yes. All
I
right, so I
do.
we
Yeah.
all just need to embrace the changes, I must say.
Yeah, we like sooner or later we have to adapt, yeah.
Yep,
All right. So because I do miss physical classes as well, like, it's not, obviously it's not the same as looking like
I
talking to
agree.
virtually rather than physically, right? So okay,
I
anyway,
agree.
our topic today is about social media, which what you are expert in. Okay, everyone knows that Miss Audrey is expert in social media. So, can you tell us a bit like how is social media is used as a PR tool? Mm.
I think the keyword here is not to say it's used as a PR tool. Social media must be integrated into the practice of PR itself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what we are looking at just now. I mean, not just now. At current, is actually a digitalizations of public relations. Okay, a
Yeah.
digitalizations of public relations. I rather say we are not changed from traditional to a modern or to a new PR. I prefer to look at it as digitalizations of PR. I mean, whatever we have here, the integrations of social media into the public relations practice itself is actually a new tactic of the public relations. So we have the all or traditional tactic. Okay, so now with the social media, so we have been presented with a new options, with a new tactics. So I think, like I said, the keyword here is integration. Okay, the keyword here is integration. Uh, how can the social media use as a PR tool? So I think regardless of whether it's old tactic or a new tactics of public relations, I think the main aim is still goes back to how are we going to, one, to create the brand awareness. Two,
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to the reputations of the organizations itself. So
Yeah.
if you use the traditional or the new public relations, I mean the digital PR, for example, you still have to this is still the basic aim of every organization or every brand, I must say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Mm.
So like it's not like a tool, but it's more integrated,
Yep, yep.
Uh, okay. So, yeah, nowadays, like we are living in the 21st century, everything is digitalized. So, how do you think, how important it is for a PR firm to have a social media?
So include social media as a PR tools in the firms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think if you go for the social platform, for example, like Twitter, for example, okay, for example, like Twitter. Twitter has been prominently used as a primary channel, okay, for the business, especially, and then for the brand, or even for the celebrity, okay, or even for the celebrity to release the official
Yeah.
about the organizations. Do they have anything coming coming up, for example, so just to make an announcement. So I think a lot of organizations, a business or brand or even the celebrity, like I said, have been used this Twitter as a platform to make an announcements and official announcements for themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
I think what we've seen here, the lessons is very clear. If you are a business and you fail to integrate, again, Alicia, integrate the social media, okay, into your business, to manage your reputations, okay, I think one of the drawback will be you're not able to reach the digital world. Okay, there's so many potential audience out there that you can reach by using the social media.
True.
Okay, by using the social media. So if as an organization you're afraid to do that, you fail to do that, so that's mean you lost this potential audience, especially from the digital world.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that is actually that itself constitute to the main reason why social media must be integrated into the public relations practice.
Yes, yes. Especially nowadays, right?
Mm.
Everything is digitalized. Like even news, we don't really go for newspaper anymore. We actually go online.
Correct.
We don't even go to
Yep.
their official page. We go to their Instagram page or Facebook page to get news. So yeah, that
Okay.
is right. Yeah. Because nowadays everything is like from the tip of our fingers. Now we can just like scroll and get our information. So, anyways, there's a lot of benefits of social media to be integrated in a firm, in an organization.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the challenges, Miss?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coming to the challenges part.
Challenges of the social media. I
Yeah,
think when
how effective
uh,
or the
when
downside.
I think social media is actually a tool. So it's actually if you were to equate it with the other platform, even the traditional platform like we can actually go back to the televisions, we can actually go back to the radio, for example. So all this is actually a tool. I mean, but for me personally, all this is actually a tool. Same goes to the social media. So we as an audience, we are in the positions to actually determine what kind of purpose that we are going to use this social media for. So I think before we address the challenge, so this is the things that we need to look into. So what is the purpose of you using the social media? If you use it for a good side, on the positive note, definitely you have a positive outcome. Okay, a positive outcome. So if you speak as an organization, for example, so all these positive outcome can come from the brand awareness, or it can even come from the conversions. For example, if you were to launch a campaign, so all this is a positive outcome. So I think as a user itself, it's rely on us on how we are going to use it. We are the one who actually set the purpose of usage of that particular platform. That particular social media is just a social media without we put a meaning into that particular social media, I must say. Okay, one. And then if you ask me what are the challenges when it comes to use the social media, especially for the organizations, in order for them to reach their audience, I think uh, for the organizations, the main or the biggest challenge here is actually for the brand to seek out for the customer. Okay, to seek out for the customer. Because when we talk about the social media marketing, as an organizations, you cannot afford to have what we call as a spray and pray marketing approach.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
heard about this spray and pray marketing approach?
Like,
Spray
um,
and
just pray for it. Like, you're not
yeah,
doing anything
okay.
for it.
Yeah, you just broadcast anything you have. I mean, any content that you have created, and that's it. So spray and pray marketing is actually a directionless marketing. It's a
Yes.
directionless marketing because it's actually an approach that what we call that you create a content,
Mm-hmm.
you create a content and then you post it in your platform. Finger crossed. Okay, finger crossed, people will actually come across the content and there will be a conversions. So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
what we call as a spray pray marketing approach. It's
Okay, that's
actually
very
a directionless marketing. Don't have what do you call it, you don't have a directions.
right. It's
Okay,
like just put it there, but you don't work for it. How do you
yes, you
expect?
don't work for it.
Yeah.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
You don't work for it. So I think when we come to the directionless marketing, it's always attached to this misconception of you have to create a content, then target audience later. So if you
Mm.
use the social media marketing platform, you cannot afford to do that. Okay, you
Yeah.
cannot afford to do that. You need to research your audience. You need to do ample research on your audience before designing a content that suit that particular audience.
Yeah.
Okay, then rest assured they will be, I mean, they will respond to it. They will engage with the content.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure whether you heard about this, Alicia, that most of
Mhm.
the reason why uh, customers unfollow the brand in the social media is because one of the reason is actually because of the irrelevant content. Okay,
That's right.
irrelevant content. So
Yeah.
this is actually the case. This is actually the case if you simply create a content and then just simply upload it. Like again, lah, spray and pray. Finger crossed, people will actually come across it and then engage with the content. And then
Yeah.
irrelevant content is actually one of the reason. And then the second reason why people unfollow the brand in the social media is actually because the brand spam their customers with the advertisements.
Oh yeah, yeah. Advertisement can be very
Okay, they
annoying.
spam. Yes, they spam their customers with the advertisements. So I think when this is actually one of the biggest challenges. You need to actually put a balance in terms of the quality as well as the quantity of your content. So
Mhm.
you need to know how many content, appropriate content that you should produce by knowing what is your audience needs. So all this is not possible if you did not do a very good research on your audience. So I think we all have go through this buyer persona, all these platform, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is actually a common approach used by the organizations to actually what we call that compile the intelligence about the audience before creating a content and then place it in their in their platform itself.
Yeah.
So you cannot create a content then target audience later. You have to target, I mean, you have to know your audience, then only you create a content relevant to your audience.
Obviously,
Okay?
because yeah, because you have to search for your target audience first before doing
Yes,
anything. That's like the
yes,
first step in anything. So
yes.
okay, let's go to the next question. Because we have a little limited time left. I think we can go for two more questions. So
Okay.
um, do you think that social media helps for PR practitioners in developing good relationship and communication with the public?
I think with that question, it's very clear that because public relations is all about creating the relationship and then maintain the relationship. And then in order for you to do that, you need to have what do you call that? You need to have a communications. You need to have a clear and effective communications because for a public relations practitioner, I think it's no doubt that communication itself must be treated as a responsibility. So you need to deliver not only an accurate informations to your audience, okay, but you need to also keep on need to ensure that the communication itself is a continuous communications, regardless whether you have a new product or you don't have a new product, for example. So again, the communications must be there.
Yeah.
So I think if back to the questions, if you ask me whether social media does help,
Mhm.
in terms of the in terms of the how the social media has been integrated into the public relations, the best thing to look at this is that with the social media, you don't have to go through so many layer of audience. You can just straight away reach your audience. So there's no world, or there's no what do you call that, not to say a red tap. Okay, but I think with the social media you can just directly approach your customers, I mean your audience, and ensure you have a good relationship. So I think in order for you to ensure the good relationship, communications is actually a key. And the rule of thumb is definitely an honest communications. okay, a rule of thumb is definitely an honest communication, regardless of whether you use the social media or offline communications. Okay, so honest communications is still the rule of thumb for the communication. You can't actually, what do you call that? Create a relationship if you don't have an honest communications with your
Yeah,
customers.
receive.
Okay, I must, regardless of social media or not lah.
Mm.
Because I mean, you will be linked or you will be connected with your audience, but that being connected and being related, or you have a relationship with your audience, that to me that is a very big difference.
Oh,
Connected and related, you have a relationship with your audience, that's a very different thing. So if you have a good relationship with your audience, okay, so if there is a time where you need to actually get their feedback, okay, so this audience will definitely willing to provide you with the feedback.
definitely. Yeah.
You see?
Related and connection is very different. But okay, here's one more
Yeah.
question. In social media, like for celebrities, their audience, like their fans, are they connected emotionally? Like, is it connection or relation? What do you think?
For celebrity, I think
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to the, I mean, the purpose of the connections itself. So if it's solely on the, I mean, if there is the emotional component, it's definitely a relationship. So to me, for you to differentiate between connected and relationship is that connected. So all of us could definitely have the, what we call that, a win-win kind of situations. Both of us will definitely have a benefit from that connections. But if you ask me, if you talk about the relationship, so the exchange will be much more pure. The authenticity of the relationship itself will be much more, certain.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Because
Yeah, you
celebrity
need to look on as
different
well.
type of connection. Because fans can
Mm-hmm.
be very hardcore fans. Sometimes they feel like, okay, the celebrity is one is in a relationship with them. So that's why I was asking, is it like more to a relationship or more to connection wise? Because you see it was different.
Uh, to me, if you talk about if you talk about this in the relate in in involving the organizations as well as the audience, okay, to me you need a relationship, not a connection.
Mm.
Okay, you need a relationship, not a connections.
Okay, all right then. Okay, with that, that's the end of the questions. But before that, okay, um, we have this session where each guest um give a question to the future guest. Okay, so for the
Okay.
future guest, for our episode 5, they actually have this question for you. So you have to answer it, Miss Audrey. Okay, so this is very impromptu. Like you really have to um answer based on your opinion. So the question is, as a leader, how are you going to ensure your communication is effective or not? Yes, this is by Mr. Yusuf, by the way, if you if you would know.
All right. Oh, okay. I'll get the impromptu questions today, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, all right. The questions is actually, if I were the leader, how am
How
I going to?
ensure the communication is effective or not?
Okay. Uh, the rule of thumb to ensure the effective communications, if you need to know the right time when you are when is the right time you need to act as a speaker, as a communicator, and what is the when is the right time for you to act as a listener as well. So I think if you want to be an effective if you want to be a leader with an effective communications, you need to not only ensure you are a good communicator, but you need to also become an active listener, active and sensitive listener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think this is actually one of the one of the in order for us to measure the effective communications. Okay, one, we need to ensure that a good speaker. So I think if you talk about the leader, especially in the public relation field, so there's a lot of misconceptions that all of us are doing the talking.
Yeah.
all of us are doing the talking. It's actually not only that, we all do everything from research to actions to, I mean, communication is definitely part of it. I mean, and then we also have the evaluation. Okay, so all this is a misconceptions about the public relations. So if you ask me, in order for you to become as a leader, how are you going to measure the effective communications? As a speaker, okay, as a communicator, I mean, we need to ensure that we become we can listen to our audience and
Yeah.
then consider consider their voice, consider their concerns into our message. So
Yeah.
put ourselves in our audience shoes, okay, so that we are going to speak in their language. Speak in their language, meaning we are not going to use like Bahasa Melayu or English. That means we are speaking in our audience language. We are going to use a language that this particular audience will definitely know, comprehend, or able to absorb. So if you do that in the first place, I think communication shouldn't be a problem. Okay, you definitely can not to say ensure that the communications is effective, but I think at the end of the day, people will actually understand what you are going to deliver. So I think that is actually a clear benchmark that your communications is an effective.
That's good. Yeah, I
Okay.
do agree. You have to listen first and then you can be a good leader. Yeah, okay. So
Yes.
I hope this answers the previous guest question. So that's the end. We are this is the end of the session, Miss. So just
Okay.
I would like to say thank you once again for being our guest and also for being the last
Okay.
guest. So sorry for any inconvenience, because we had to do it online. Because normally we do it physically, it was
No problem.
but due to the circumstances we need to do it online. So I would like to say thank you, and this is the last episode of Bolto Chat. We hope you gain a lot of information, and now you know more about what public relations is in a lot of aspects. So like for example, for today is social media. As always, don't forget to follow our social media, which is on Facebook and also Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. So with that, thank you so much, Miss, once again. Bye.
Yes, thank you very much for the interesting sessions, Alicia.
Yeah, okay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
day. Yes.
All right.
Let's join PR as your favorite cause. Let yourself step in this human force with your creative mind and